race weekend that built up like a Hitchcock movie ended with a real thriller in the final laps. The 2021 US Grand Prix was the next chapter in the most exciting World Championship in years, and it really revealed how close Red Bull and Mercedes are in terms of performance. While Max Verstappen won with the slimmest of margins, Mercedes lost a race they couldn't really afford to lose. This is why. After celebrating outright victories in Turkey and Russia, Mercedes came to the US on a winning streak. And having won nearly all races at COTA, this definitely should have been Mercedes territory. Their rocket form continued during the Friday practices, where Mercedes was about a second ahead of anyone else. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen seemed quite unhappy with his car and the situation at the track, showing some frustration during the Friday. But those who followed Red Bull more closely saw they didn't seem too bothered by these issues. The Milton Keynes outfit came to Texas with a quiet confidence that played out with a steady yet aggressive hand during the weekend. By the time Saturday came, they were serious contenders for the top positions, while Mercedes got a bit lost. They even had to retreat to a survival strategy for qualifying, going back to the setup of Friday morning. The words of Mercedes boss Toto Wolff after qualifying revealed that the end of the Mercedes domination came quite unexpectedly. He said, "We have lost performance from Friday to qualifying. We haven't got the right explanations yet, but clearly we haven't met our expectations." This meant they started the race on the back foot, realizing that Red Bull had maybe done some sandbagging, normally considered a signature Mercedes move. After the new aero package was installed on the Mercedes in Silverstone, they flew like rockets on the track, even surpassing the slight advantage Red Bull seemed to have during the opening of the season. While Silverstone was won in dramatic fashion, Hamilton has not been able to translate the pace difference into a notable point difference in the World Championship. But in Austin, Red Bull could finally match the speed of the Black Arrows on merit for the first time since the Dutch Grand Prix, and that must have worried Mercedes more than a lot. While only the people at Mercedes know how much more updates are scheduled for the next races, it is now clear that the pace difference between these two teams is negligible. And with only 5 more races to go this season, losing the lead in Austin should give Hamilton serious headaches. The Mercedes engine has been dominating conversation in the paddock for years, but not for the latest reasons. For the first time in years, it's not the praise for the engine power, but worries over the reliability that make all the conversation. Whether it's because of the valves, the aggressive mapping, or any other issue, Mercedes has had to change 29 engines so far, including the client teams. Compared to Honda's 15, that's a lot, even if we take into account that Honda has only 2 teams to supply. Bottas is currently using his 6th engine, and after the US Grand Prix weekend, even Sky TV's chairman of the Hamilton fan club, Martin Brundle, aired his expectations that the Briton might need a new engine as well. That 5th-place grid penalty would be a serious blow to his championship aspirations, especially considering Sergio Perez's current form. But the most alarming part, there's legitimate reason to assume that Mercedes doesn't know what the problem actually is. After the US Grand Prix, Toto Wolff was quoted a million times with all sorts of different quotes, but one of them was quite telling, although he didn't really say anything at all. He said, "We're trying to really get on top of the problems and we haven't understood them fully yet." Although his drive at the US Grand Prix was absolutely stunning and great proof of what an excellent driver he is, Hamilton has been far from flawless this year. With the pressure on his shoulders now even worsening, it is time for him to stand up. But the more he seems to raise his voice about the performance, the more it seems to be against his own team. After the US race, Hamilton and Wolff publicly disagreed on both the strategy and which car was faster. A discussion that will most certainly continue if the results don't improve quickly. With its long high-power straights, high-speed corners and normal altitude, COTA is a track that suits the Mercedes more than the circuits to come. The last 5 races of the seasons are Mexico, Brazil, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi. Because of the altitude and layout, Mexico has been Red Bull territory for the last few years, and there's no reason to expect otherwise this year. Same goes for Brazil, a track that in 2016 sparked Max Verstappen to show us one of the best drives ever in Formula One history. Qatar and Saudi Arabia are new circuits and both seem incredibly quick, so that could fall both ways, as Red Bull has proven in Belgium and Bahrain that their low downforce package is incredibly slippery. What's more, the high-speed, fast-cornering first sector in Austin was Verstappen territory all weekend long. And as for Abu Dhabi, now that will be a race on its own entirely. Now this is a tricky one. Had Verstappen been in lesser form, we would all have said that the Mercedes strategy was daring but brilliant. And it has to be said that their options were limited because of the early Red Bull call. But regardless of the outcome, Mercedes took a risk with the choices they made. It was totally expected that they would have to respond to the undercut of Max Verstappen. But they responded late, betting on a late overtake in the last 3 laps of the race with Hamilton on much fresher tires. But anyone who has seen any race on this track knew overtaking here will be very difficult, if not impossible, especially in a few laps' time. Add to that, Max Verstappen knew exactly the strengths and weaknesses of his opponent, having followed Hamilton closely in the opening laps of the race. Max Verstappen knew exactly how to defend Hamilton before the Briton even came in the position to attack, and the Mercedes pit wall could have definitely seen this coming, giving more fuel to Hamilton's criticism. So what do you think about Hamilton's World Championship chances? And of course, what do you think of this video? Please leave your comment, subscribe, and hopefully see you next time.